Long ago, there was a small village named Nandanpur, where lived a kind-hearted girl named Chandramukhi. She was the only daughter of her mother, and her beauty was as gentle as the light of the moon. Chandramukhi was not only beautiful, but also compassionate. She helped the poor villagers, cared for animals, and spoke sweetly to everyone. She was loved by all. One day, she went to the forest to gather wood and suddenly saw an old woman sitting by the path, crying. Chandramukhi approached and asked, "Grandmother, why are you crying?" The old woman replied, "Dear, I am very hungry, but I have nothing to eat." Without hesitation, Chandramukhi gave the old woman the food she had brought for herself. The old woman, having eaten, said, "You are very kind, my dear. Take this, a blessing for you." The old woman handed Chandramukhi a small 7-colored flower. Happy, Chandramukhi took the flower home, but its special blessing was unknown to her. The next morning, as she was helping a poor neighbor, an astounding event took place. A bright light emerged from the flower in her hand, and the poor man's house was filled with new clothes, food, and happiness. The villagers were amazed. Chandramukhi realized that this flower would only work for those who dedicate themselves to good deeds. She began using the flower's power to do good for everyone. But this news reached a distant, greedy king's ears. He sent soldiers to capture Chandramukhi and bring her to him. The king said, "Give me this flower so that I can become even richer." Chandramukhi bowed her head and said, "Your Majesty, this flower only works for the generous and kind-hearted, not for the greedy." The king tried to take the flower into his own hands, but it withered away immediately, and all the gold and jewels in the royal palace disappeared. The king, astonished, realized that greed never brings happiness. Chandramukhi returned to her village and continued to help the poor as before. The villagers understood that truth, compassion, and love are the real strength, and those who live with innocent hearts are truly wealthy.